Welcome to Let the Quran Speak. I'm Aisha, your host. The Parliament of the World's Religions is a conference in which representatives of various faiths meet to discuss world issues and resolve to work together. The Parliament is the oldest, largest, and most inclusive gathering of people of all faiths and traditions. Dr. Shabir Ally has just returned from his visit to Salt Lake City, where the 2015 conference was held. Let's talk to him about his experience with the conference. Welcome to the show, Dr. Shabir.
Pleasure to be on.
So I know I've never heard of the Parliament of World's Religions, so tell us what it's all about.
The name itself sounds more glamorous than you might associate with religion. Sounds almost like government. But the Parliament of World Religions is a conglomerate of religions, well, people from a wide variety of religions and cultures who meet together to discuss commonalities and also to motivate each other and to devise plans of action to make our world a better place.
Now, I understand when we were discussing this off air that this was your first time attending the conference. What were some of the main themes that were highlighted?
They spoke about climate change, about the rights of indigenous peoples, women's rights, the need to end hate speech and war, the need to bridge the gap between the incomes, like you have people earning a lot and people earning barely little, so that needs to be bridged, and also the need to develop youth leadership to give more confidence to youth to take on leadership roles. And
what role did you play at the conference this year?
The specific role I played was in one of the breakout sessions to discuss our experience in Dubai, where we had a dialogue between Muslims and Christians. We wanted to present that as part of the global interfaith movement, a movement wherein religions come together and look at commonalities and also differences in our approach, so that we can understand the various faiths a little bit better and help others to understand our faiths as well. We felt that the experience we had in Dubai, being that this is part of the Middle East, and having dialogue there is really unprecedented, and it needs to be replicated in other parts of the world as well, especially in other areas of the Middle East. And by having such dialogues, we hope that people will become more open-minded. They will come to understand the world as a diverse place, as a global community with many different religions and cultures and followings.
And were there other representatives from Canada as well who attended with you?
Yes, there were many. In fact, there were some 30 persons who were known to be attending, and there could be many others apart from these who were known. Toronto actually was quite highlighted at that conference. There was one breakout session in which the whole discussion was about the interfaith movement in Toronto itself.
I have to ask you though, I mean, this all sounds very nice, very interesting in terms of, you know, people coming together and sort of discussing these important issues, but in your experience, how effective do you find these conferences in terms of actually making tangible changes on the ground?
Well, maybe I can say something about the history of this part of the conference, and then that will, you know, frame that the answer to that question. This conference actually began in 1893, and it was done in Chicago for the first time. At the time when it was done, it was unprecedented. People could not imagine that you could bring so many diverse religions together on a common platform. And then for 100 years, nothing happened. And then some Muslims in the Chicago area put their efforts together to try and revive it in 1992, planning for the next year, which would be 1993, 100 years since the inception. And then they did have a conference in 1993. That's 100 years after it was first held, and with nothing in between. And from there onwards, they started to hold it approximately every 5 years in various parts of the world. They went to Australia for one, and South Africa, and Spain. And then now they have brought it back to the United States of America, now in Salt Lake City. And it was now decided that from henceforth the conference will be every 2 years. So that's something for us to look forward to rather than thinking it's in the distant future. It'll be very close. We can start planning to attend the next one. So your question is, how effective is this? Well, the very fact that the conference is able to bring together people from so many parts of the world and to move this conference globally in such diverse places as South Africa and Australia and Spain, and now back to the United States of America, shows that this is a global movement that is here to stay. The fact that they are now advancing the proximity of the conferences, making it every 2 years instead of every 5, shows that it is a successful conference. This year it seems to me like about 10,000 people had attended. And
from all over the world?
From around the world. I personally met a man who was there from Russia, and I met somebody who had come from Egypt. He's an Al-Azhar tutor, instructor, and we took pictures together.
Very nice.
Yes. So we can see that people have been drawn together from around the globe for this conference. So it does have an important impact. What I like especially about this conference is that to bring together so many people and to form a resolution right there on the spot with as the meeting of minds is not so easy to accomplish. And many conferences have people come together, listen to some lectures, and go away. What I find unique about this is that there were some resolutions drawn up, and these were printed in what is referred to as a commitment book, and people were encouraged to take that commitment book and to sign it themselves and rewrite the commitments in their own words and so on, so that people were really encouraged to take action, not just simply to listen to some interesting speeches and go home better informed, but to listen, to learn, and to go forward with the determination to change our world for the better.
And the resolutions, I'm assuming, were based on the themes that you mentioned earlier, right? About
yes, in
Indigenous
terms
rights.
of women's rights, there are very important declarations showing that we need to put a stop to female genital mutilation, to the marrying off of brides at a very young and immature age. We need to stop the rapes of women and so on. In terms of the rights of Aboriginal people, we need to stop the further incursions into territories that are lived in by Aboriginal people. We need to recognize their rights as the indigenous people of peoples of the lands that many of us have come to occupy. In terms of the income inequality, well, we want to bridge that gap and reduce that gap between the rich and the poor, the high income earners and the low wage earners. And these are important declarations that are put forward as statements firmly to be embraced by the participants, and the participants are encouraged to do something about it. Climate change. We cannot just leave things to happen as they are, but the declarations say that we are to halt deforestation. We are to use less. I remember Abdul Malik Mujahid, the current chair, in the closing ceremony, saying it nicely. We have to consume less, recycle more, and give more. So 3 things.
Perfect. I don't think any of us can forget that. Thank you very much for sharing your experience, Dr. Shabir.
You're welcome.